Okay. Hey everyone. So we are going to be doing day 6 notes today. So on day 5, what we started was we were factoring trinomials for the first time. Or well, not first time, but first time in geometry. So we are going to be factoring more trinomials today. We're going to add a little bit to them. We're going to have GCFs in these, and our leading coefficient may not always be 1 this time. So we're going to do a little bit of practice. So I'm going to skip 1 and 3. We're going to go over to 2 and 4 first because I want you guys to see those. So when we do these, the first thing we need to check for is a GCF. That's a greatest common factor. I'll write that up here. Greatest common factor. Okay, so this is just something that you can take out of every single term that you have in your equation. Okay, so if I have 8 terms and I can take a 2 out of every single one of them, then my GCF is going to be a 2. So for problem 2, I have an n squared minus 3n minus 28. So is there really any number, if I know that this is a 1 up here, is there any number that can come out of all of these? Well, the only thing that can come out of a 1 is a 1. So there's really no other number. So I don't have a GCF. So GCF is not applicable. Okay. And then from here, we're just going to create our box like we did last time. Okay. Probably could have made my box a little bigger. Oh well. So remember, your first term is going to go in that first box, and this very last one is going to go in that bottom one. So n squared and negative 28. Sorry, that's really small. So I want to see what multiplies when I take these two that are highlighted, multiply together. So negative 28 times n squared is negative 28 n squared. And I want to add, if we remember, to this middle term, negative 3n. Okay? So I'm going to start going through. I can create a little chart over here. So I know that one of these has to be negative because I have a negative 28. So if I did 1 and negative 28, well, 1 plus negative 28 doesn't add, 1n, sorry, and negative 28n. These don't add to negative 3n. So let's go to the next one. Okay, my next one is going to be a 2n and a negative 14n. Okay, 2n times negative 14n gives me negative 28n squared when I multiply them, but it doesn't add to negative 3n. Okay, so I can't use that one. I can't do anything with 3n because 3n doesn't go into negative 28n squared. So my next option is going to be to try a positive 4n. So it's going to be 4n times a negative 7n. Okay. Well, 4n times negative 7n gives me negative 28n squared. And when I add them, I do get negative 3. So those are going to be my options. So I'm going to put a 4n up here and a negative 7n up here. Okay. And now we're just going to take out our common factor from each of our rows and columns. So my first row, n squared and 4n, I can take out 1n. From my second row, negative 7n and negative 28, well, they're both negative, so I can take out that negative. And then I can also take out a 7, because 7 goes into 7 and 7 goes into 28. My first column, n squared and negative 7n, I can take out an n. And my second column, 4n and negative 28, I can take out a 4. So my final answer is going to be n plus 4 from up top and n minus 7 from the bottom. Okay, that's exactly what we did last time. Okay. So on to number 4. Again, first thing I check for is a GCF. Okay, I have a 4, a 24, and a 20. Okay, well, these are all even. So if they're all even, I know I can at least take out a 2. Let's see if I can take out anything higher. I know I can take a 4 out of a 4. I can take a 4 out of a 24. And I can also take a 4 out of 20. And what I mean by taking out is that 4 goes into these numbers evenly. It divides into them evenly. So my GCF, that is a highlighter. I don't know why I keep doing that. Is 4. So I'm going to take a 4 out. And I have p squared minus 6p plus 5. Now, with this right here, I'm going to use the box, just like we did before. So again, p squared plus 5 So I want to multiply to 5p squared, and I want to add to this negative 6p. Okay? So 1 and 5, 1p and 5p, multiply to 5p squared, but they don't add to negative 6p. Okay, my next one, I can do a 2p and that's it, actually. I don't know what I was doing there. Okay, well, let me rewrite this. We had a 1p and a 5p, okay? Those are two numbers that multiply to give me 5p squared, okay? 2 times 5 doesn't work, but this is a positive 5p, and if we remember, 2 negatives make a positive, right? Negative 2 times negative 2 equals a positive 4. So let's see what happens if we make both of these negative. Minus 1p minus 5p. Okay, well, negative 1 times negative 5 is a positive 5p squared. And what's negative 1 plus negative 5? Negative 6p. Okay, so this is going to be your option. Okay, so you guys are just going to have to try every single one. Again, this will get easier with time. So negative 1p and negative 5p. Okay, so just like before, we're going to take things out. So if I go to my first row, I can take out a p. Okay, and if I go to my second row, I want you guys to note that this problem right here is a special case. Okay, this is one of the ones that you guys are just going to have to know. It's done differently. Okay, so if we look, if I rewrite this, I'm going to erase some of this stuff and rewrite. So what we had was p squared, 5, negative 1p, and negative 5p, just so you guys can see it better. And we said that we could take a p out of here. So we can all agree that both of these right here are negative, correct? Okay. So if these two are negative, but our 5 or number right here is positive, we still are going to have to take out those negatives, okay? I know you guys don't want to, because if I look on my second row, I have a negative 5p and a positive 5. So you guys wouldn't think to take out the negative, which is understandable. But since this is a special case, you have to take out that negative 5, okay? For my first column, p squared and p, take out that p. And then for my second one, I again have that negative 1 and a positive 5. So you guys wouldn't think to take it out, but since this is a special case, we have to take out that -1. Okay? So the way we would write our answer, up top I have p minus 1, and on my side I have p minus 5. Okay? So if we remember from up above, we had this 4, and we have to make sure we bring that 4 down. So my final answer is going to be 4 times p minus 1 times p minus 5. Okay, so you guys can try 1 and 3. They match up. 1 matches up with 2, and 3 matches up with 4 on how you guys would do that. So you can pause the video and try those. You should get, for 1, you should get x plus 9. And you should get x plus 5. For 1. And then for 3, you need to get a 2 times a plus 4 times a minus 3. Okay? So I'm going to work this first column, 1, 3, and 5 first. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on these. Okay, so first things first, check for a GCF. Okay, so I have a 3, an 11, and a 10. Okay, well, the only thing that can come out of 3 is a 1 and a 3. And I can't take a 3 out of an 11, so I automatically know I do not have a GCF. So not applicable. Okay, so make your box. (3x squared) positive 10 Okay, so I'm multiplying to get what 3x squared times 10 is. 3x squared times 10, well, this is 30x squared. And again, I'm adding to this negative 11x. Okay, so over here, if you guys want to, you can go ahead and create your stuff. Okay, so I'm multiplying to a positive, but adding to a negative. Okay, well, are two positive numbers ever gonna add to a negative? No. So I probably need to have two negative numbers, which again, do two negative numbers multiply to give me a positive, right? Negative times negative equals positive. Okay, so I'm going to do negative numbers all the way through. So negative 1 times negative 30. Negative 30x. Okay, those multiply to give me positive 30x squared, but they don't add to give me negative 11x. Okay, so I'm going to do my next one. I know negative 2 will work. Negative 2x and a negative 15x. Okay, well, negative 2x times negative 15x, okay, that's going to give us a positive 30x squared, but it's not going to add to give us the, it's not going to add to give us the negative 11x. So go to your next one. Well, I know 3 goes into 30, so negative 3x and a negative 10x. Okay, does this add to give us negative 11? No. So go to our next one. 4 doesn't go into 30, but 5 does. So negative 5x goes with the negative 6x. And those do add to give me negative 11x. So a negative 5x here and a negative 6x. Okay. Is this my special case? Do I have two negatives and a positive here? Yes. So I'm going to write it over here. Star, special case, So we need to take out the negatives. So I'm automatically just going to go up here and take out my negatives where I know I'm going to have to take them out at. Okay? And then I'm just going to do my rows. So 3x squared and a negative 5x. We can take out an x, negative 6x, and a 10. Okay, well, I can't take a 6 out of a 10, but I know I can take a 2 out of a 6 and a 2 out of a 10. I'm going to go ahead and put that there. 3x squared and negative 6x. Well, I know I can take an x out, and I also can take a 3 out of a 3 and a 3 out of a 6. And then I have a 5x and a 10. So I know I can take out a 5. So my final answer is going to be 3x minus 5, x minus 2. Okay, so we're going to go down to 3. Draw your box. Okay, now I'm going to check for a GCF. So I have a 9, a 3, and a 2. Well, I know I can take a 3 out of a 3 out of a 9, but I can't take a 3 out of a 2. So I do not have a GCF. Okay, so 9m squared and this negative 2. So I need to multiply 9m squared times negative 2. So I'm multiplying to get negative 18m squared, but I'm going to add to get 3m. Okay? So if I'm multiplying to get a negative, that means that one of them is going to have to be negative. Okay? So over here, you can make your little chart if you want. So very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have, let's do negative 1 and 18. Okay? Oh, m. I keep forgetting that for some reason. Those do not add to give me a positive 3m. So we'll go to the next one, negative 2m and 9m. Those do not add to give me a positive 3. So let's try my next one. 3 does go into 18, so negative 3m and 6m. When I add those together, I do get a positive 3m. So this is what I'm going to use. Negative 3m and a positive 6m. Okay. Now I'm going to check to see if this is my special case. So do I have 2 negatives right there? No, only one of them is negative, so it's not a special case. So I will not be taking out negatives for no reason, essentially. So for my first row, I'm going to take out a 3m. Second row, I can take out a 2. First column, what you can take out is a 3m again. And then for your second column, you can take out a negative 1. And that is going to be your final answer. Okay. 5. Do I have a GCF? I have a 4a squared, but then I have a 1. So I don't have a GCF. So I'm going to make my box. So 1 and a 4a squared. So I'm multiplying 4a squared times 1. So I'm multiplying to get 4a squared. And I'm adding to get negative 4a. Oops. Okay? So again, I'm multiplying to a positive, but adding to a negative. So the only thing that's going to add to negatives and multiply to a positive is 2 negatives. Okay? So first thing I'm going to start with is negative 1a and negative 4a. Okay? Those don't add to negative 4a. So the next one I can try is a negative 2a and a negative 2a. Well, those do add to negative 4a. So those are the ones I'm going to use. So my first thing I need to see is if I have a special case. Do I have 2 negatives and a positive? Yes. So again, right over here, special case. So I need to take out negatives. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on the places that I'm going to take them out. So you take it out here and here. Okay? So for my first row, 4a squared and negative 2a, I can take out a 2a. For my second row, negative 2a and a 1, I've already taken out that negative. And all you can take out from here is a 1. Because the only thing you can take out of a 1 is a 1. For my first column, 4a squared minus 2a, I can take out a 2a. And my second column, again, is a negative 2a and a 1. So I can take out a 1. So 2a minus 1, 2a minus 1. Okay. If you guys remember in the last set of notes, I told you guys that if you get two things that are the exact same, the way that we write this is 2a minus 1 squared. And that will be your answer. Okay. So it's very similar to what we were doing last time. We just have to worry about a GCF, and we have to make sure that we check for our special case where we need to take out that negative, even though we may not think to do that. Okay. So I want you guys to try 2, 4, and 6 on your own. You guys can pause the video and then come back and check your guys' answers. So for 2, you guys should get 4y minus 3, 2y minus 1. For 4, you should get 2p minus 1, 5p plus 2. And for 6, you should get 2x plus 3, 3x minus 4. Okay? So when you guys are doing this, I should see a good portion of work from you guys, okay? If you guys just magically get the answers, you are cheating. You cannot just magically come up with half of these, okay? So I need to see the box. I need to see what you guys are multiplying to. I do not necessarily have to see this. You are welcome to put it to help me follow your work, but I don't have to necessarily see that chart, okay? If you guys have any questions, please reach out. You can email us. We're here to help. Hope you guys have a good day.